Welcome everybody, what's going on? My name is Toby D and I am bringing you a Kha'Zix jungle guide today. So, this guide will focus on low elo since I'm myself a low elo player. I want to show fellow low elo players how to play this champ in low elo. So you might wonder like how dare you doing a guide when you're low elo yourself? Well, I've got to say in games like League, I really enjoy doing analytic stuff. I watch a lot of streamers. I like to analyze OPGG stuff, U.GG stuff, and put all things together and learn from them. So also, I think we might be on a way more similar level in terms of how we approach a champ. So I'm bringing you guys, especially for low elo, this guide. So let's jump into the rune setup. So for low elo Kha'Zix, what you normally see is this setup right here. So you have Electrocute for your main rune. You have Sudden Impact, Eyeball Collector, and Ravenous Hunter. So this provides you with a nice burst, especially early game, and some healing from the Ravenous Hunter as well. You usually want to go for Inspiration secondary tree with Magical Footwear and the Cosmic Insight for the cooldown reduction. You go for 2 times Adaptive Force because Kha'Zix makes most of his damage through his abilities, and usually you go for armor. You could go for magic resist, of course, if the enemy team is highly AP heavy. There is the possibility to go for Dark Harvest if you want to go for a late game approach. And there's also a rune set with Conqueror, this one, which you might want to consider. So here you go Conqueror, Triumph, Tenacity, Coup de Grace, and Sudden Impact again, Ravenous Hunter again, and this time with the attack speed to help you out a little bit in terms of your Conqueror stacks. So when do you want to take which rune setup? Usually I would go for the Electrocute, especially in low elo. And low elo it isn't that easy to get all your Conqueror stacks on Kha'Zix, and so I usually go for Electrocute. Conqueror is good if you like want to pick Kha'Zix early, and then you see like, oh my god, all enemy champions are quite tanky. I might not be able to one-shot anybody, so you might want to go for Conqueror for these longer team fights later on. So it provides you with some more healing and extra damage in these kind of scenarios. But usually I would say don't like first pick Kha'Zix, pick him when you see like, oh damn, the enemy team is really squishy. Here we go, I can one-shot everybody. Now let's talk about items. So I've made a item page right here for Kha'Zix. You really want to start with the Hunter's Talisman because your E is gonna land a huge area and apply the Hunter's Talisman burn on, like for example, the whole Raptors camp, which is quite useful. Refillable potions, of course, and then the Oracle lands. We will talk about this one later on. Usually you want to go for Blue Smite when you go for Electrocute to get like a extra burst and a slow, of course. You want to go for Red Smite when you are going for Conqueror, I feel like. I don't really like Red Smite on Kha'Zix, but if you feel like, oh my god, the enemies are gonna just one-shot me instead of me one-shotting them, then Red Smite might be the way to go. So now you have two different setups. First, if you go for a Electrocute Dark Harvest approach, then you want to go for a lethality build. First and foremost, after you have your warrior, you go for your Duskblade, And this is really, really nice on Kha'Zix, provides a lot of lethality, and after being unseen for at least 1 second, which kind of fits to Kha'Zix's playstyle, your next basic attack against an enemy champion will deal bonus damage and slows them, which is really, really nice. So then you want to go for your second tier boots. Usually I would go for Merc Treads, especially when the enemy team has lots of CC or just lots of magic damage. You could go for Ninja Tabbies as well, or even for Boots of Mobility if you're really, really confident nobody can really touch you. Then there's a lot of diversity in terms of your next full item. Most people go for Yumo's Ghost Blade. I personally think in low elo you always forget the active aspect of this item. So I would say you go for Edge of Night, which is really nice to have. For the extra health, you are not as squishy anymore and you get a spell shield. Or if you're playing from behind, what I find myself building pretty often is Umbral Glaive. This item is so nice to spot enemy wards and disable them, and you just auto attack them with one ability, or not one ability, one basic attack. Then, after building your one of these lethality items, you want to go for the Guardian Angel, and last but not least, for a Lord Dominic's Regards, or if the enemy has a lot of healing, you might want to consider a Mortal Reminder instead. So this brings me to my second Kha'Zix build. This one is the Conqueror build. As I said, probably Red Smite. Then you go for Black Cleaver, Death's Dance, and a Guardian Angel, and then you could go for Mortal Reminder, Dominic's, or this bad boy right here, which, thanks to this awesome client, more tiers, can't even pronounce it. So this item would be really nice to have against a heavily AP reliant comp, so might be worth picking up. And for your potions in the late game, if you are like full build and you don't want to change anything anymore and you have still gold, you go for a Elixir of Wrath, which gives you even more attack. So I would always go for these two builds, either or. Both are really good, kind of similar in win rate. It really depends on the enemy comp. Alright, so next we are going to watch a replay of my most recent Kha'Zix game and show you a few things I'm doing with him. So stay tuned. Alright, so let's take a look at this gameplay footage. First of all, what I always do is buy a regular ward at the beginning. You go to the opposite lane where you don't want to actually do your buff and put it down while you're backporting. You can actually place the ward in the last second, and then you port back, get your Oracle Lance, which you should always get if you're playing jungler, and then you rotate to the buff you actually want to do. So on Kha'Zix, you really want to start on blue buff all the time. The cooldown reduction is so helpful and makes clearing your camps way healthier on your first clear. So in the best situation, you get a leash, like from this very nice Ilaoi here, can't even pronounce her name. And yeah, you start Q, you're gonna go for Q, W, E, and go for Q max first, W max second, and E max last. And also for low elo, I would always say you should evolve Q first for the cooldown reduction, which is so helpful when doing like objectives like dragons or also killing enemy champions. Then, secondly, you want to do W evolve, which gives you a massive slow. It helps so much in the later stages of the game. And last, you could go for E or R. It really depends on your playstyle. You could go for flashy plays with E resets. E resets might be nice in the later stages of the game to jump out of a fight after getting killed. And R is really nice for those longer team fights. If you are going for a Conqueror Build setup, you might want to consider going for R max into W max into E max, which is a good setup for longer team fights. So you just watched me doing blue buff into Gromp into Wolves, and now we are doing Raptors. You heal off from Kha'Zix W, which is pretty nice. And of course, it's kind of weird in terms of your isolation damage during these bigger camps. So, like for example with the wolves, you want to do the small wolves as fast as possible and then go to the big wolf. Like right here, it's kind of difficult with the raptor, but it's not too bad. At least you need to spread your hunter's talisman with your E, and then you're kind of good to go. I smited the red buff here, and yeah. Right now I want to go for Scuttle. Usually on Kha'Zix, 5 camp clear is more than enough. Could do a full clear, but usually Scuttle is worth a lot, and you can solo many enemy junglers in early stages of the game. So right here we are playing against a Kindred. I'm not really frightened to go against a Kindred early on. You saw Lilia rotating right here, possibly scouting for the Kindred maybe. And yeah, so that's like your first clear, always start blue, Gromp Wolves. You could go for a gank, level 3 if you feel confident, or see an opportunity mid lane for example. If not, go for Raptors, red buff into Scuttle. Now I looked for a ganking opportunity right here. Lilia's support is kind of strange, don't really know how to handle it. It's a fast gear, so I just go for the golems and clear them instead. On Kha'Zix, a mistake many players do is like they feel the pressure to do a lot of things early game, which is good. Like early game is definitely your time to shine with Kha'Zix, early mid game. But if you don't see opportunities, don't get yourself killed for like nothing, you know? If there are no opportunities at all, you might as well want to go for just farming, which is fine. It's totally fine. So in this particular game, our mid lane, our Diana, is a beast. She carries hard, and yeah, it's pretty good to have a mid laner like this, honestly. But like, my whole team was pretty good this game, so yeah, kind of lucky with that. So after clearing our Raptors once again, we are at... Where can I see my gold actually? I don't know. Right here? No. But we had a huge amount of gold, so we were going back and getting our Stalker's Blade and sword and a control ward. If you haven't found a opportunity to beg for your Oracle Lance before the first clear, you can do it right now as well, like I just did. Because of the invade right here, we didn't really get a chance to go back and get our Oracle Lance early, which is kind of a bummer, but it's alright. So I'm gonna lay my ward on Dragon. On Kha'Zix, I mean, I could do Dragon right now if I had like mid and at best bot prio as well. Since I didn't have it and I didn't know where Kindred was, right here, I didn't feel confident to go for Dragon right now. Rather go for a gank, get with Lydia, and since Kindred was right around the corner, turns out to be pretty, yeah, I don't want to say bad, but it wasn't good. So I survive here, Tristana I think survives as well, so it's a 1-for-1, kinda alright. And yeah, Diana goes for a gank attempt. She doesn't really get anything out of it. She loses a wave, in fact, but she's already level 7. She's, as I said, really good, so it's fine for her. Dragons are going to be really easy as Kha'Zix once you get your Q evolve, because you get the reduced cooldown, and with that you just wreck objectives. Really good. And your jump of course helps you go over the wall and go out again after you obtained your objective, which is especially helpful on this side of the map. But of course, if you're playing on the other side of the map, the same thing applies for Rift Herald. Right here, try to kite the golems a little, heal off your W, hit as many as you can with your AoE to apply your Hunter's Talisman. And yeah, right now, as you can see, mid is doing fine. I usually don't even need to help it. Bot lane, kinda difficult to gank, and top lane I wasn't sure what to think about at first. So yeah, what I did, I just went farming for 6. Which sometimes is the best thing to do, honestly. Like, just try to not fall behind. Like right now, the Kindred is 2-0, which seems like a lead. Turns out, it didn't really help too much. Yeah. So yeah, just farming for 6 right here. Kindred going for Diana doesn't have a chance really. And we are just farming. I think this camp gives us level 6, which gives us the Q evolve as well. Yes, right here. And now you see the difference, like with the Q evolve, you just grab single targets, isolated targets I should say. Don't cancel your auto attacks with your abilities, so usually wait for an auto to go through, then you Q, and with the evolved Q it's really nice, so you can usually auto Q or Q, put an W in between. It's really good to have, feels really smooth. So my team is picking Dragon. I was on the complete opposite side of the map, bot lane got wrecked. There's nothing you can do, just give it. Trying to steal it is an option, but chances are you just die. So I went for Scuttle Crab, which is a easy target to get, and go for Rift Herald instead, because we know most of the enemy team is bot right now. So Rift Herald is pretty easy to get. For hitting the eye, you usually wait for the Herald starting to attack, and right when his animation starts, you circle backwards and get his eye for a huge bonus damage. Also, when he does his big smash, you kind of want to go to around the left of him. It's the easiest way to avoid the damage. Don't want to get hit by those big smashes. So we did the Herald. Still over 3 minutes until the turret plating falls, so now you want to think about, okay, which turret plating do I want to get? Like, turret plating gives you a lot of gold, and it should always be an objective for you to help your laners get those juicy plates. So right there I saw my top laner already pushed in a lot, so I just put my Rift Herald here, get some plates. Usually gets about 2.5 plates. So you kind of want to put it down when there are like 3 plates left. You smash it, the turret falls, and then you might even want to go for another turret in a ideal scenario. So Alawi here smashes Kindred, almost gets now as well. I think he gets away. but it's pretty okay. So Kindred now 3-1, we are still 0-0, which is, on Kha'Zix, not good. Like, my early game here was really safe and kinda bad. But it's all about opportunities with Kha'Zix. You're playing an assassin, he can kill enemies fast when they are doing mistakes. And usually in low elo, the most common mistake you will do is to die. So trying not to die is sometimes the best thing you can do for your team. So right here I tried to get Zoe, but she was aware of the situation. So going for Scuttle again instead. Scuttle is quite helpful for ganks because of the speed up, of course. Kha'Zix doesn't really get too much of it, but for example a Nunu, like, it's insane. Speed up is really good for some champions. So right here I'm kinda trying to go for the Zoe, but she's such an obnoxious character, so I just go away, try to go for the Kindred, she ults, which is kinda bad for us. Waited for the heal, flashed out, my E was in cooldown right here, so I just died once again. So now we are... oh no, that is actually our first death. There will be a second one quite soon, I believe. So yeah, as you can see, not a good game at all for us right now. In terms of items, we got our full jungle item already, we got our free boots, and we got some longswords for our dust blade. Usually you wanna get your full jungle item at around 7 or 8 minutes. I didn't really pay attention when we get it in this particular match. I could have gone for red buff right here, but I saw the Diana, so I wanted to help her. We are actually getting the kill on Lilia. Lilia plays really bold in this game, and she gets punished a lot. But yeah, Lilia is a really squishy target, and if you are playing from behind, it's really hard to find success. So after getting the kill, we are going back for more farming, and our team really started to pop off. This turret is still here. If you take a look real fast, like, Illaoi died 3 times, but she kind of holds her ground pretty well, so that's fine. Diana kind of in a bad situation right here. So if you want to go back real fast, like 15 seconds, will this be? Yeah, so Diana finds herself in a pretty bad situation. She gets the turret, Kindred is in danger. I'm out of vision, R to get the speed up, and be out of vision a bit longer. And combo her, you can actually E, so you do your jump, and while still mid-air you can press Q. This is really helpful and should get should become a habit of yours. So with Kindred dead and Misfortune dead, it's a no-brainer, go for Dragon, and you kind of burst down in a blink of an eye with your Q. It's really good. So I decide to get Scuttle while I'm here, and Zoe is kinda in a weird spot. I saw her, I think, I pushed her, and yeah, she's dead. She just died. So as I said, she is really not paying attention. She was in vision all this time, so yeah, it's pretty easy. It didn't even have to jump at first and get another kill. So here, I don't know, maybe there was a mark on the golem, might be. You could sometimes go for marks in the weirdest situations. So she's 1 level down, she has no ult, I believe. Maybe she was just too late, so the first damage of Kha'Zix, even though she was isolated because of the golem, was just too much for her to take. So looking at our score, now we are in 5-1-1, which puts us in a really good spot. We are porting back, getting our Dusk Blade. For boots, you usually want to go for Merc Threads, as I said before, when the team is AP or CC heavy. In this case, we have Zoe AP and a Lilia support AP, and 3 AD characters, from which 2 of them are kinda highly auto attack focused. So I go for Ninja Tabais in this game instead. You can already see me picking up the armor. Didn't have quite enough gold for the tier 2 boots though. So in the meantime, my team used the Rift Terror, which is totally fine for me. I thought they wouldn't encounter any problems doing so, so I was just farming my topside jungle, and in fact they got it without any problems whatsoever. Which is really nice. So we clear our blue side. What you can do on Kha'Zix, especially in the early and mid game, is invading the enemy jungler. I usually don't do that because I find myself more than often to be unaware of the enemy jungler's position. And usually, like, in this game I could have done it because I was quite confident in beating the Kindred when she doesn't have the ult. Even with ult, she's kinda easy pickup. But yeah, like invading is really a thing. Like, you see the enemy jungler, for example bot side, you are around here maybe, and you are like, okay, I can't really get a gank off, let's invade the enemy jungler's territory and get some gold of it. So looking pretty good for us. Our team has 6k gold advantage and also 6 kills. I kind of wanted to steal the blue buff right here. I saw the grid, which is now 2 levels behind us. But instead I'm gonna get a kill on the Zoe, but I don't get away. Maybe I should have just bought it. But yeah, our Tristana and Yumi are topping off, so it's fine. That's our second death of the match. Now 6-2.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
Be okay. Like, I usually try to not die more than like 5 times, which is still pretty low for low elo, I think. It doesn't work every time. It really depends on your teammates as well and how well you play the early game. But yeah. But still, as you can see, the trick right here was stay calm, clear your camps, and just wait for opportunities. And when there are opportunities, take them and get an advantage of it. So right now I didn't really feel like going over there because I just respawned and it's a long way to go. Also, 5-on-5 team fights really aren't the strength of Kha'Zix, especially if you go electrocute. So what I did was clearing some camps and waiting for the dragon to spawn. Right now, as you can see, my whole team is going to die. I'm looking for wards with my Oracle Lance to be sure that I'm not in vision. I was pretty sure that the enemy team will rotate for dragon as soon as possible, and as you can see, Kindred definitely was on the way, or on their way, I should say. And yeah, but Q-involve Kha'Zix way too fast in taking objectives, so yeah, easy peasy, even though my horse died. We're just getting objectives, farming up, and staying calm. Usually, just a little tip of mine, if you feel like you're getting tilted in like in general, just slash mute all. Makes life so much easier. You can focus so much more on yourself, on getting better at the game, and Yeah, it's it's a good thing. Try it. Try it. Alright, so our team is back, trying to push out the lanes. Um, yeah, right here, I thought only Kindred is on the way towards top, but it was definitely not only them. So I just jump out, even ult to get away, for sure, because Kindred can jump over the wall as well. So better safe than sorry. Kha'Zix's cooldown on his R is fairly low, so yeah, use it. Alright, we of course already got our W evolve as well. It's really, really important. Like always, no matter what evolves you wanna go, always go W evolve second, because like in teamfight scenarios where, as I said, Kha'Zix tends to struggle, it's really helpful to just stand at the side of the skirmish and slow as many enemies as you can with your W. It helps so much. It's a 90% slow. It's so good. Only on Iceblade targets though, so keep that in mind. Yeah, but otherwise it's still a 60% slow, which is pretty good as well. So yeah, I was like, guys, I'm kinda low, and I don't like fighting right now, so I just went to some camps, heal off of them. At this level, you just heal from camps, you don't really take damage anymore, which is great. And so yeah, just doing the camps, trying to get bot lane pushed in as well. As you can see, top and mid were already like gone, so yeah. Our team, after some time, noticed that staying here doesn't contribute anything, so they went for bot lane as well. And if I remember correctly, we're getting a kill on Lucia and as well. Yeah, just jumping right into us. But trying to utilize the ult, she's getting nervous, flashes out. We get Fortune and Zoe. Kindred actually gets away. Diana gets a double kill with Gnar. And yeah, Kindred actually was the only one to get away. So yeah. Now we have all three inhibitors. Needless to say, it's kind of just we get the kill on Kindred. As you like, let's go back right now. And take a look at this once more. So I'm gonna jump on Kindred with my E, and even before I land, or slightly after, I press E as well, and my W to finish her off. Pretty nice combo. And that. So I hope you guys learned something from this little Kha'Zix Kha'Zix guide, and yeah. Get out of bronze with Kha'Zix, get out of silver with Kha'Zix. He's a really, really solid choice right now after his recent buffs. Alright guys, so check out my streams if you want to catch me live, check out my other YouTube stuff, doing lots of variety stuff as well. And yeah, have a wonderful day, see you guys next time.